Hail and well met. I am your humble scribe Amanda, inviting you to join me in an act of lunatic daring do. Join me now as we tumble down the rabbit hole that is campaign setting creation. I marvel at how just damn quick this is going to go off the rails. So we're just going to jump straight in today, but first of all, how about that intro? That is like my second attempt at animation. What do you think? You can't say I'm not trying with this. I am really trying with this. Anyway, we should jump in. So we're going today basically to do the basic definition of our world. Some of it physical, some of it stuff that's less physical and more attributes of basic attributes of civilization. So, first of all, the world type, the physical stuff. World type is Earth-like. I haven't fully decided if it's larger than Earth or smaller than Earth. I haven't fully decided what the average gravity is. I haven't figured out yet. Basically that kind of stuff. Now, I had thought about making it a super Earth, but that would be 10 times the mass of Earth. No. So, it's going to be Earth-like, which means it's going to have an atmosphere much like ours. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to deal with human player characters, but I do know that the physical attributes are going to have an aspect to do with that. Now, this is a document we're going to go back to time and again, and it's a document that is going to be changed over time. Get used to seeing this one a lot. Okay, so the average landmass is scattered, which means no supercontinents. We're not going to have an Africa. We're not going to have an Asia. Not going to happen. So the average is going to be 150,000 square miles, or just under 400,000 square kilometers. To give you an idea of that size, that is kind of between Baffin Island and at the low end of Madagascar at the high end. So not small. Not small land masses at all, but not supercontinents. I wanted to do that because, well, the idea I have for going forward for this setting actually requires there to be none. We'll get onto that in the future. Now, the average means average. There may be bigger ones, there will be smaller ones, and there will be lots of much smaller ones. It's not quite a water world, but let's just say I was definitely influenced by the Earthsea saga by Ursula Le Guin, with especially the first book where it's scattered islands. I like that aspect of those books, and I kind of like the concept and the idea of going forward with it. So, average sea depth. This is actually important, but people tend to discount it and not think about it. They just think the sea is the sea. But sea depth has a lot to do with wave height. It has a lot to do with the violence of storms. It has a lot to do with water temperature and the species that exist in the sea. So, what I'm going to do here is the deepest point is going to be the average of the Pacific and the Mediterranean. Well, not the deepest point, but the average sea depth. There will be much shallower places. There will be deeper places, but not much deeper. So the average of the Pacific is 14,000 feet. The average of the Mediterranean is 5,000. Yeah. The deepest point of the Pacific. God damn it, I can't speak today. This is like my fourth time trying to record this. I'm not starting again. The Pacific at its deepest is about 14,000 square feet. 14,000 feet! Not square. I've got square on the mind, man. Mediterranean, 5,000. So the average of those is about 9,500 feet depth. So you can take the deepest, absolute deepest point of being about 10, maybe 10.5. So 10,500, maybe at the deepest. At the shallowest, well, I mean, it's the sea. It can be really, really shallow. The highest point is, I'm averaging the highest and the second highest mountains on Madagascar, which are, this is going to be hard. Maromokotro, which is 2876, and Bobby, which is 2658. The average is 2767. I didn't round that off because it's good to have just like a specific number. And these are in meters. I forgot to convert them to feet. Deal with me. Bite me. For some reason, some things I like feet, some things I like meters. Height is one of the things I like meters. So, that is the basic stuff, but there is one or two things we're going to need to add to this. First of all, has it a moon? Why, yes. Yes, it has a moon. So, Control B, moon. There's a quote from Star Trek. Vulcan doesn't have a moon, it has a goddamn nightmare. Which is attributed to a particular Starfleet medical officer of very high standing and rank. McCoy. That quote has stuck with me for years. I mean, the first time I actually came across it was in a novel, Scott's World. I think it was written by Diane Duane. And it's really stuck with me because a few weeks later I saw Amok Time, the Pon farr episode of the original series, for the first time ever. And it does have a goddamn nightmare. It doesn't have a moon. We're going to do this here. This world is going to have a goddamn nightmare. And that goddamn nightmare is going to define something really important about this world. How? Tell you in a second. Goddamn nightmare. It is 1/4. That's 1/3. Damn it. 1/4 the size of our keyboard's all the way over there. I have got to reorganize this desk. So it's 1/4 the size of the world we're building. Now, Earth's moon is much smaller than that. And yet, this moon is not going to be a moon. What's it going to be? It's going to be part of a binary planet system. This means that rather than like our world, where the moon orbits a point within our planet, like say here, what we have... Oh, come on. I keep forgetting I don't have them set up here. What we're going to have instead is we're going to have the moon, and it's going to be orbiting a point here. So what you actually have is the two of them orbiting a shared point that is not inside a planet. Why does this matter? Well, your world is going to rotate. I'm going to have this moon be tide locked. So in other words, the same face. Why are you not working? You know what? Screw this. Don't save. Minimize. And we're going to open ArtRage. If it'll open. Come on, open. There we go. Okay, I know this works. Okay, so... Why are you not... Oh, you're on arrays. Silly me. Okay, so there's the world. There's the moon. This is the shared point they orbit. So that's their direction of orbit, right? This is going to be landlocked. Tidal locked. This is the moon. So it'll always have the same face facing the world. This is our world and the direction of orbit. A direction of rotation. So you're going to have all sorts of weird ass lighting effects. So you're going to have days where if the sun is here, actually there's a smarter way to do this. Okay, so our sun shines from this direction, say. You're going to have times where the moon could be here. In other words, even though the sun, essentially, eclipses will be very common. Like, incredibly common. They'll almost be like weather. On the other hand, you could have it at the other side, which means you get the full effect of the sun. You can have it over here. Again, full effect of the sun, full effect of the sun. So 3/4 of the time, your moon is going to be behind. And I have this in my head. It's very difficult to explain. But the idea I have is that I would like lunar eclipses to be considered almost in the same way as day and night. It's an extra sort of night. So we'll have like days, we'll have nights, and then we'll have twilight days. Yes, this is my writing, and yes, it's awful. So, like, a day, we're going to assume it's a standard 24-hour cycle. So, 12. The twilight days, however, are going to be about 6 hours. That's how long it's going to take for it to work out. So, we'll create a new painting. Don't save. I said don't save. Go away. Go away. Okay. So, day, night. They're going to be roughly 12 hours, plus or minus. Twilight days. So, they're going to be about 6 hours. So, the moon phase would be 6 hours. 6-ish hours. This is not mathematically worked out. At all. But the way it's going to work is this. On a twilight day, it could start like any other day, or end like any other day, in that the sun comes up, the sun goes down. But over the course of that day, the moon moves over the sun and back. So you could have like say, well, no, they're going to be 12 hours, so 6 hours of moon time. God, my writing's bad. Not helped by the fact that I think this is smoothing. Yeah, it is. Okay. That was a mistake. It might be a bit better. Yeah, it'll be a bit better. So we're going to have about 6 hours of moon time. 6 hours of that day where the moon will be in the sky. So it could start at the very beginning of the day. You could start the day from day to night and actually be in the moon time. And the moon time is 6 hours with, say, 20 minutes. This is actually no better. 20 minutes of total eclipse. So, 20 minutes of total eclipse basically means darkness. It's a second night. Those days will have a second night. And this kind of should allow for some really interesting stuff when it comes to, like, if you're running a campaign that's based around a heist. Or like there's a castle being besieged or a city being besieged. You're going to want to wait maybe for that day, because you can move your forces into view while it's full light. And then as the second twilight gradually gathers, you might send your initial assault forces in up against the wall, and then when it's just dark enough that they'll be hidden, and then when it is total eclipse, in other words second night, you have 20 minutes for them to get over the wall and get to the gate. That could be such an exciting gaming session, especially if you actually timed it to 20 minutes, which would mean that every minute the party spend fucking around is a minute they don't have to get the gates open. The idea for this is to have, I'm trying to think of a word for it, but an added layer of excitement to the world, if that makes any sense at all. So, like I said, it's going to have a second moon. We'll actually minimize this for now. Oh, go away. So we're going to have a second moon. It's going to be about a quarter the size of our world. It's going to have a relatively slow orbit around the shared point. It's not a moon. It's a binary. I'm really bad at this. It's a binary world. What do you think? I can't believe I'm doing that. This hit me last night like a bolt from the blue, and I ended up rethinking everything because the idea that you have the world and you're sharing this point and you've got the sun, and when you have this point right here, the fact that you could actually have really short, really exciting periods in a game where the party have to use that short period of darkness. Say a temple that only opens at certain times. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know this is batshittery, but I think it could be really good batshittery, and I do need to work out the maths on it. I do need to work out the exact rules for it, which is something we're going to do in the future. But this is just the basic stuff today. So, new, don't save, come on. Okay, now, that is the basic physical stuff, and we need to work out the more advanced stuff now. So we need education, science, technology. This is the civilization stuff. Faith, magic, culture, militarization, and previous civilizations.